Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. Couple of football lines today to update and have a little think about, and maybe we can get some debate going on in the comments, as we always seem to manage to do. Real kind of sense at the moment now, we're in the second week of the second lockdown now, going into it. And a bit of a sense, Prime Minister's come on this morning talking about people being patient, but a bit of a sense of people looking ahead now, realistically, to when things relax, what can happen. Obviously, football is at the forefront of all of this. So, a couple of little bits. We have had FIFA proposing through a spokesman today that when football does come back, behind closed doors, that obviously goes without saying at the moment, that they've proposed teams can have 5 substitutions instead of 3. This is only a proposal. It still has to go through IFAB. It just makes me laugh every time we talk about this, and FIFA and UEFA and IFAB, and then when we're doing English stuff, it's EFL, PFA, FA, Premier League. Far too many bodies involved in this, but there you go, so much bureaucracy. The FIFA spokesman said when competitions resume, they're likely to face a congested match calendar with a higher than normal frequency of matches played in consecutive weeks. If you do check out back on the channel, I did map out how a 56-day end of season, which is the number Rick Perry was using, would map out. I wouldn't necessarily agree with, I don't know their exact proposal when fixtures come back, but it was able to go Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday week, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, and still fit in. Don't know whether that would be the same with the Premier League, if they're going to bring back Champions League things as well in the gaps. They go on, safety of the players is FIFA's main priority, or one of FIFA's main priorities, along with making lots of money, allegedly. One concern in this is the regard that frequency of matches may risk potential injuries due to player overload. In light of this and the unique challenge faced globally in delivering competitions, according to the originally unforeseen calendar, FIFA proposes a larger number of substitutions to be temporarily allowed at the discretion of the relevant competition organiser. Rah-de-rah, in competitions where less than 5 substitutions are currently allowed, each team would be allowed up to 5 with the possibility of an additional substitution remaining during extra time where relevant. So, interesting proposal. I guess FIFA are kind of trying to get in there and say, look, here we are, we're proposing something that ultimately we're not going to sanction or isn't going to be our responsibility, but we're going to propose it and, look like we're trying to get the ball rolling. So that is all good. Again, it's got to go through IFAB, and then it's going to be at the discretion of the relevant competition organiser. Be really interested for people to get their comments on, would it help? Would it not? Just thinking about it really quickly, I haven't given it a lot of thought because the news only just dropped an hour or so ago. But generally, most teams don't have a core of more than 5 key players, do they? It's normally 3 key players, 4 key players with other cogs around them. The reason I say that is that the key players, the big players in this team, it's not going to make any difference to the amount of minutes they're going to play, is it? Because they're still going to be out there doing, starting most of these games, at least going up to, whether a 2-goal deficit comes in their favour and they can go off for 60, 70 minutes, that they're still going to be starting all the games. What it would serve to do is mean that clubs could use more of their squads, so they can distribute minutes, obviously, amongst 16 players per match rather than 14 at the moment, with 11 starting and 4 subs. So if, as most followers of this channel are, you're a Championship fan, well, do you have 5 key players to protect? Probably not. You've probably got, especially in the Championship, maybe 1, 2, 3, lucky if you've got 4. If you know what I'm saying by key players, the ones that really are feeling like that important to the pattern of play of a certain club. So that's unlikely to help. And also, do Championship clubs, does anyone really underneath the Premier League have 16, 18 players of similar standard to step in and help out even with the 5 subs. So look, obviously this is a simple maths equation, but the more players you have able to take the minutes, yes, in essence it will help spread the load out, but really when you actually look down to it, will it make that much difference? Also, will it become a hindrance in terms of time waste? And I went on Twitter and typed in 5 subs just to see people's reaction to this news proposal, and someone put a picture of Jose Mourinho laughing and suggested how he would string out a sub every 3 minutes or whatever just to kill time at the end of a game. So I suppose they've tried to do something in respect to substitutions with the players going off at the nearest point. For years this has been a problem and just a conceived way to run down the clock. But I mean, it's part of a bigger problem in terms of time waste, and there's a good podcast on this by the Tifo football guys about how there isn't one thing you can do here to stop time wasting, but substitutions, really is a big kind of problem with people running stuff down. And you'll have this comedy of a team chasing a game and they make a substitution that takes all of about 10 seconds. And then the opposing team will take one that takes about a minute and a half once all the kind of theatre is done with the player not noticing he's going off, wandering around a bit, untying his shin pads, strolling off very slowly. So maybe something needs to be done about that. It needs to be clearer in the rules generally. So this is a sidebar issue, but I'm pretty certain that this rule of thumb that you hear is informal, that you hear on the terraces all the time. 30 seconds for a goal, 30 seconds for a substitution, or whatever it is. That's not in the rules, unless someone can show me the IFAB rule number that's in. I believe injury time is completely covered by it's at the discretion of the officials. So maybe 5 substitutions might cause some problems with some teams running down the clock. See, Neil Warnock would have loved that, wouldn't he? He's going to be itching to get back in. So 5 substitutions, get your thoughts in on that. Will it help? In reality, how will it actually play out? And will teams that don't have massive squads of really talented players be able to benefit from it anyway? Obviously, yes, I respect all the players who bring us the entertainment and acknowledge that anything that helps protect their bodies is probably helpful. We've also heard from the Premier League, Project Restart. That's pithy, isn't it? So we've got a kind of nice soundbitey name for all of this now. And we do have 3 clubs, I think, back in training. Arsenal are back at London Colney. I promise, I used to live, if you drive out there, go over the M25. I lived in London Colney, just the other side of the road. So I'm very familiar with this area and this state-of-the-art training facility that Arsenal have. How are they doing it? Well, they've got players arriving in groups of 5. 10 pitches are used, so players do not come into contact with each other. That sounds quite lonely, doesn't it? Each player is assigned their own ball. Hey, kick it over the fence, you've got to go and get it back. No danger of that. Although it's Watford is literally next door, so there you go. Players are on a rota and told where to park in the car park. Buildings at the training ground are closed off. Club field training at Colney is safer than parks where players were being asked for selfies. There's a conspiracy theory, isn't it? If an Arsenal ball goes over into Watford or vice versa, are they too close? You're going to get all sorts of conspiracy theories here, aren't you? So that's how Arsenal are doing it, and this has not been reported generally or kind of corroborated in great fashion, but I'll mention it. June the 8th is being kind of thrown around now as the date, which gives clubs kind of a minimum of 3 weeks if they're back. Say, I think it would be week 3 of May. That would give them a 3-week pre-season. Obviously, people who are organised like Arsenal, I think West Ham, there was one other as well, might have a bit of a head start on them. I did map all this out. If you check elsewhere on the channel, we've got what a 56 game end of season would look like. That was more in terms of the Championship, but I believe it's the same number of games in the Premier League. Still lots of chitter-chatter about St George's Park, neutral grounds. We've even had the possibility in League 1 and 2 of just a playoff, go straight back into a playoff with the top 10 teams. So still a lot of conjecture about this. And this will be popular for those people who paid for Sky, etc. Some consideration for free-to-air TV to get some games. I wouldn't have thought that would be all of it. But hey, it feels like we're in a time where sharing is caring is a good thing. But don't let that get in the way of self-interest. We know we're going to get people who aren't going to be happy with that, and they're going to be writing strongly worded letters and cancelling their Sky subscriptions to watch their free-to-air TV games. So, yeah, huge levels of conjecture, though, still on all of this. So, be interesting thoughts on the above. Again, we're trying to keep the content going, so let's be nice to each other. If we can avoid absolutes, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. What's the point commenting that? You don't know. Nobody knows. So that doesn't really help. And sprawling predictions of this is definitely going to happen, unless you know more than the Prime Minister and the Cabinet at the moment, then we can avoid them. And also the other slightly irritating comments I've been getting at the moment are, why are you talking about this? Well, this is what's being reported. We're feeding it back. Everyone kind of wants to keep up with the narrative. I wish I had some games to talk about and I was at work and everything was normal, but this is what we've got at the moment on football channels, and we can debate it in a good spirited way or we can ignore it. So hopefully we'll do the former. So get your comments in. 5 subs, is it helpful? Is that FIFA doing something useful or just virtue signalling? How would it work? Who would it benefit, etc.? My thoughts on time wasting. Project Restart and June the 8th again, we are speculating, but if things continue to go well, in terms of, and obviously I say that advisedly with respect to the number of deaths there's been already, but the idea was to flatten the peak, which has happened, to enforce the lockdown, which seems to be happening, and then to ease gently. If this is part of the easing, then hey, maybe it might just happen. So those people commenting, never happened. Well, they're working towards it and they're doing something positive. And in a time like this, positivity is probably more useful than sitting on your keyboard being negative about everything, isn't it? But hey, we're never going to change that, are we? Let me know all your thoughts on that. I'll get off my soapbox. No, I won't. I'll never get off my soapbox, will I? Hopefully more news and updates to talk about and debate, and that is all we're doing here. We're just having a chat, hopefully an informed conversation where people are going to make their opinions politely. That's all we're trying to do here. You can follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Hit subscribe, ring the bell if you want more of this. If you don't want more of this, don't watch politely. God, I'm off on one today, and I've had a few negative comments, but there you go. We soldier on and we try and keep creating and keep talking, because in the words of Bob Hoskins in the 90s BT adverts, it is good to talk, isn't it? There we go. Sounds like I'm going slightly mad, so I should probably end the video there. Get your comments in. Hopefully more news to chat about. Hopefully maybe a couple more collaborations coming up, but more stuff on the channel. Go back, check the archive, loads of videos, even since the start of lockdown. Top 10s. If you want some factual stuff, yeah, go there. In the main, it's been news updates and how football is going to come back from this crisis. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video.